Alright guys, here's what we're looking like. Got everything in its place where it's going to stay. I need to take that back over, but there's a few things I haven't messed with, but I'm done. I'm done arranging for now. I'll do the little odds and ends here and there when I get bored with doing this. So I'm going to get back on the Camaro. I'd push this thing out and you can see how I've actually been towing this back in. I've got a tow strap here and I just hook my truck up and just pull it back in. I'll push it out back and then I'll pull it back in. Well, today it's freaking pouring down rain outside, so I'm not putting all that outside. So, but I'm just gonna get back to working on these mini tubs and massaging them and getting them how they need to fit and get them kind of permanent, you know, put in permanently basically. I think I remember I finished the roof, got it finished, what I needed done to it. Ultimately, all I need to do now is start blasting some of this stuff like the frame and stripping the EDP off this stuff and getting it all primed up and ready to go back on. But I can't do that today because it's raining outside. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I can do, which is get back onto these tubs. Get these all fitted up real nice where they're going to stay. Get this all locked in tight inside here. And then work this up here because there can't be any gaps in here. So that's got to go in and back flat. And then I have to make up the difference here if I have to split this or whatever I have to do to make up that difference. So I may end up having to modify that, which we talked about that anyway. So that's kind of what I'm going to do, work from the inside out. Everything inside there is good. The frame's set right. All this is good. I need to go in here and take a little bit more off of this, I think, to get that to completely flush up against there. So I'm going to end up blowing the car back apart a little bit and working on these today. Here. So what I've got to do is I've got to get this inner tub fitted in tight up against this where it's actually weldable, because right now there's a gap. So I was thinking about drilling this through because this actually sits where it needs to inside the rear quarter. However, I just thought, you know, if I drill through this, things are going to change. So why don't I just draw me a mark here? And once I get that in, then I can push that back up to where it is. I'm gonna have to modify this. There's just no way around it. I'm gonna have to split this and move it out. Unless I'm missing something that I don't see, it's just gonna have to happen. Which is also gonna give me more wheel tire clearance. But as for right now, I just don't see any way around that. So I need to take this off and then get that inner fender well fitted really nice and tight where it needs to stay, and then go from there with actually making some permanent marks where that's going to stay. Then come back in, even figuring out maybe if I need to drill some pins, some holes to where it stays in there where I want it. Then fit this back up in there, then put my quarter back on and then figure out how much distance is left out here to split this, to move this out, if you see what I'm saying. That's my thinking. Like I said, I wing this shit, so this is how it works. But this is how my mind, how I do things. It's just how I do things. There's no right or wrong, I don't guess. I mean, I guess if you do it wrong and it doesn't work out, then that was the wrong way to do it. But I mean, there's more than one way to do things. So, but this is the way I'm thinking about doing it. I may change my mind along the way, and of course, you know, I do from second to second. I'm like, oh, I'm going to drill this, and I think, no, because that's not going to be permanent yet. Because there's just still too much in and out there. So we're going to have to take an outer one. Don't let me talk you to death, because I'll do it. I want the inner one to stay in, so I've got a clamp here, and I need to put a clamp under here. That way it doesn't fall off. I only remove the outside portion of what I want. So now I can take this clamp loose and see if there's anything else holding that. One up here that's open. Yep, there's one right here. That one comes out. Now this is sandwiched up in there, so it kind of comes out a little bit. And then of course in here, so it just pops out that easy. Man, I've got this car dirty grinding on all that other stuff, but we'll clean that up. All right, so here I'm going to bring you in a little closer and kind of give you an idea of what I got going. Now I'm going to have to take this one out as well, but it's really where I want, sorry. Here we go. I'll bring you back, battery's going to die. All right, so as you can see in here, I've got a bit of a gap, so that's got to go away. So I have to bring that in. I also have a gap here, which we'll push in once I break this loose, this clamp, and I'll get that pushed in. So that's what I got to do, is get this fitted. I like where it's sitting here, and down here it's like parallel and coming down, and it fits nice here. So I needed to stay there, I just needed to go in. And you can see it goes in, but right, I've got to bend this lip in. I already I'm trying to see where I stopped. Now I'm starting to see where I stopped before. So I need to take this off, bend that lip in to where that goes in more. That'll close this gap, and I think I need to grind a little bit more of this off and get that set flush, and this part here flush. Then I can see, I can come out from there. So that's what I'm doing. Trying to kind of explain stuff, what I'm doing, you know, give you guys ideas too, you know. You may, like I said, there's probably 5 or 10 different or 100 different ways to do this, but it's just the way I'm thinking I need to do it. So I'm going to figure out where I need to mark this to where I can keep it where it is and get it right back where it needs to be. I said I like that already. So, you know that's where the outer came down. And this all looks nice to be able to be welded in good, right where it is. This is flush up against that. So literally, if I can find a place to mark, you know, like, it doesn't matter how many places you mark it, it's not going to be a big deal, but it kind of just gives you a reference, I would think. So I can mark there, get that set back where it needs to be. I know that I can also measure that. I may do that, just measure up from this point and see how far I've got. But I can also tell too about where this is. So I may go ahead and just scribe me a line right there with my scribe right on this. I'm not taking these off right now. So I can scribe a line there, and that'll kind of keep me where I'm where I know it's supposed to be. Scribe, where is that back here? I moved everything around and I can't find anything. You guys are laughing because you said that was going to happen. Well, it's happening. Freaking moving my toolboxes around and now I feel like I'm in somebody else's shop. Over here. There it is. So this is a pretty cool little deal I bought from. Went through Greg's garage. He's got a buddy that made them, and it's really high quality, really nice scribe. He even put, I can't read it now because my glasses, I think it says Mr. Fireman 164 on it, and it's really nice. This is, I mean, handmade, machine, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to scribe this right here. Alright, so that should tell me exactly back where that needs to be. And this angle here, that'll keep me where I need to be. I don't really want to drill through this just yet because I'm going to push that back that direction. But I have to take it out to grind some of this stuff off. So I'll bring you back in a minute. Alright, so as you guys know, it's been a while since I've played with this car, so I got to try to remember all the pieces and the steps, which I got to looking at this and I'm like, okay, this gets closed in. I need not to forget that bracket. So I moved this in through my line that I scribed or drew with the marker. I just slid right in, no problem. So it's all good back here for the most part. I've got something in here probably holding it out just a little bit, but I also have, I say that, it may not be. This piece here has to come up inside there and fit in there. Just like that. So what I need to do is take this plate and use it as a template basically. Push it in and lock it in. Probably ought to be a little tighter. So now I can kind of get up under here to see what is hitting and is holding me from going ahead and pushing this in like it needs to be. Oh, probably a flashlight. So right now it looks like I need a flashlight. That's what it looks like. I'll bring you back. Alright, I'm going to bring you down here with me. Hopefully I'll look at what I'm trying to get you to see. So you can see this needs to be bent in. We talked about that. But I'm looking for other things too that I'm going to have issues with. And right now I can see right there, if that shows that, if it'll focus in like I want it to, that area is sticking out too much. So right here, I need to pull this whole thing out and grind that back and away to where this will actually fit up tighter with the rest of this. And looks like I need to smooth those rails out a little bit. That's pretty crappy looking. But yeah, right now that's what I'm going to do is just take this in and out, fit that, smooth that down to where this actually fits nice and flush up against the rest of this. And I'm going to fold this back in a little bit. Alright, so after re-examining how this plate fits in here, when I took that, well, I dropped that fender off there, it is actually not going to fit like I thought it was going to fit. Because of the way this is made. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. If you guys have done these many times before, you know what I'm talking about. This plate is to fill up all that space right there. So the way I had it is actually down here, kind of parallel with with that coming down this way like that. Well, that's not what this plate is for. This plate is to actually fill that in. So, but like everything else, it has to be massaged. So don't think it's just going to pop right into place, because probably every application is different. And I just re-rounded this corner here, this edge here, and I need to finesse this back in a little bit to where that fits in there. And you can see there's an edge overlapping here. So once I get this all where I want it, I'm going to bend this down too a little bit, and then I'm going to take a little bit off of this edge here, and I'm trying to fit this thing in here to where it literally follows this line on the bottom, and then I can weld that shut as well. So it'll actually look something, if I'm not getting in your way, something like that. But I'm going to massage all this down a little bit, kind of try to work this metal around to where, and obviously that's going to have to come up a little bit more. I'll have to find a happy place and figure out where I'm going to take off. Like right there, this is really happy, and I need to hammer this down. And this is a little lower than I would like, so I could probably, and this is a little higher than I like, so I'll work this around, maybe bend this over, take some more off of that. I'm just going to finesse this out until I get it exactly where I want it. Now, if I did this and showed you how I'm doing this, it would take, you guys won't watch this for, several hours. So ultimately all I'm doing is going to hammer and dolly this down a little bit, take a little bit more off of that, take a little bit off of it. Once I figure all that out, then I'll modify this piece, but not until I've got it completely modified or completely figured out. Also, I have to weld, I'll have to pop holes and weld to these inside pieces in here. That'll be eventually. So that's something I also have to think about too, the way it's sitting in there. So I'll be back when I get this all finished the way I want it. So right now what I'm dealing with is the little details. These are the little things that I'll talk to you about and show you here. Okay, and if this camera will focus in on what I want it to, you see I put a silver mark right in there. That little edge needs to come off because I've got just, and I don't know if that'll show, you can see the light up in there maybe, just a little bit. And if that comes off, that little edge, that'll suck that in to where that's just right, and then this here will suck in tight as well. Okay? And that'll be where it needs to be. And then I can kind of finalize this up, pull this down where it needs to stay, and kind of figure all that out. I do have a little bit of a situation here. This is pretty tight. I've got this clamped. That's going to have to be welded here. It's all good up here, but then as it comes down right here, it's a little bit wide. And I think what it is these rockers, like I took a ratchet strap, went around them and squeezed them together, and they pull up. And they'll pull up a little tighter, and I think that's kind of what's going on there. So I kind of need to, because this thing here is loose. When I pull this off, I'll show you if I can get the little sucker off there. There you go. So this little thing kind of flops around, but it has to stay up. So it literally has to go there, and that is going to need to go up, which I'll have to put my fender back on and see if that's going to make any difference at all in how, I keep calling them fenders, I don't know why I do that, the quarter, and kind of see how all that's going to line up. So I may take a ratchet strap, run it around here, kind of pull that together and see how that works. This looks like once I grind that off, that's going to work. So it's just these little details that right now are going to make the big difference in the end of this thing. Alright, so we're underneath the car, and I'd run into a couple of other issues that I hadn't considered to this point. I had a little bit of a gap in here. I had actually a pretty good gap in there. And so this is a different piece than this. It's actually a bracket that's supposed to be welded to that. Well, if there's a gap in there, you're not going to be able to weld that to that properly. So what I did was I've taken this here, you can see, and squashed from the inside of that, squash that down to where all that is matching up, mating up. So I need to take a hammer and kind of beat that up a little bit. But right here, it still looks like a gap. Well, I don't know if that'll show, but actually this rounds down basically. It comes down under here. So what I'm thinking I need to do is probably cut under here where I put this line, just cut that along here and take that piece out. It's not necessary, and what's going to happen is I'm going to have a bunch of dirt and craps get caught up in there. So if that doesn't need to be there, it needs to go away. And so yeah, unless I was going to try to bend that up, which I don't really want to do that either. I'd rather just take it out of there, and then smooth it out and make it to where, and then, you know, to where there's, like I said, you're going to get dirt shit trapped up in there, and that's sandwiched together like it's supposed to be. It just rounds. I keep getting in your way, but it goes flat and then it rounds down a little bit, and it's just leaving that stuck out there. So I'm thinking, cut that out. We don't even have one of those over here. This brace was completely different on this side, and I didn't have to modify it. It's already, I don't know if you can see that. It's still in there. It's factory spot welds or whatever, but they didn't. That brace there, if you remember right, was made incorrectly, or I don't remember what now. It's been so freaking long ago, but had to get another brace and fix it up and do all that. So basically I'm going to try to take that little tab off there, or not try, I'm going to, and that way I can make that a smooth transition in there, weld all that solid, and keep all the crap out of it basically. I still need to pinch down here. I know you can see that. I can actually do that with some of these little guys here and suck that on down. But that right there was necessary because that's going to change the outside. It's like I said, these little things, they'll bite you in the butt if you're not careful. Let me get up from underneath here. I honestly should have put the dang car up in the air. I got a lift, but no, I decided to lay on my back and crawl around underneath it like a moron. So yeah, you can see here, this brace is inside here, comes up here, and I squashed that together to get that to drop and mesh up. So in order to actually make this piece like I want it to be, I'm not going to be able to really get in there with that, holding that, but I need that to stay still. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack this. Just tack these three together. Then I'm going to put my piece in here and go ahead and finish up what I need to do. That way, when I'm done, I can take that tack and just grind it down, because all that's got to be epoxy, weld through, and all that kind of stuff. All that's coming back apart. So, and I got this pulled over tight. I'll end up probably welding this completely shut. I need to pull that. That was the area that needs to be pulled down, which no big deal. I can just crank on that, get it pulled down, and then that won't affect the ass end of this thing here. So that's all where it needs to be. So I'm going to tack these together, put that back in, then put my inner wheel house back in there, and then we'll take a look at it. Alright, so I went ahead and tacked those together. You know, if I left this camera running all the time, there would be some funny shit going on behind the scenes. I wouldn't be behind the scenes if I kept it running, I guess. But yeah, my little seat that I'm sitting on, I thought it was under me. No, set my ass right down on the floor. That was unexpected. Put just a little baby tack right here and a little baby tack right there, and thought, oh, that's good enough. I pulled this thing off. You can still see I still have the sand clamp that I won from Sam's channel. So anyway, I don't even know if you're watching my channel anymore. Anyway, so this little tack here, I went ahead and popped these loose like that, and I'm sitting here, and it took a few minutes. And I'm looking at some other things, I'm getting ready to size this up, and that little tack broke, and when it did, it popped loud. It got me. It scared me. So, like I said, if I kept it running just this last 5 minutes, it would have been hilarious. At least for you guys. Alright. What did I do here? I think I must have smashed that down. That was not good. Far away. So I'll have to work that back up where it's supposed to go. So I can do that right now. Let's see what I want. This works smarter, not harder. That works. Yeah. I'll put it back where I wanted it. From there you can see how I do things. I kind of just, well, that didn't work, let's try this, let's do that. Well, that's what I'm at with that. So, that will get welded to that inner piece as well as the rest of this, and I'll probably do something with this. I don't even know if you can see that from that angle. Here you go, there's that. It needs to fit in there just a little better, and then I need to look under here to see what I've got going on, and then put that outer fender back on. I got to figure a way to hold this. And I also have an issue right here. It comes up a little too high. Doesn't want to go all the way in, so I don't know if that's going to be an issue or not. I may be able to press that in like that and just weld that all the way up over the top together. So that may not even be an issue. We'll just have to see. All right, I'll bring you back. Have a mouse in my pocket because ain't no weed here. Back on that line. Clamp. Don't buy cheap vice grips. These things suck. You can't twist the little deal. They literally suck. Try another pair of these. And they'll suck worse. That'll hold that. Duck bills. We're doing this together, right? Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. You and I. There it is. Alright, so I got that thing dialed just where I want it. So that thing got to stay there. That will actually weld to that, and that will be beautiful. Now let's see how it looks from underneath. Oh yeah. I think we're gonna make that work real nice. Real nice, Clark. Real nice. I'm happy with that. So, knowing that that will stay where it is, then we'll have to figure this out. And this is taking a lot of my day because it's after 5 right now, so I'm getting ready to have to go into the house. Let's see. You may want to go ahead and put these straps on this to pull that. You can see it flexes a little bit, so it should pull that in. Either that or I have to pull this in and then hammer that down a little bit, that flange. That maybe end up what happens, because I think it seemed like I had this pretty freaking nice right here. But we'll have to see, said the blind man as he picked up his hammer and saw. Let's see. Oh, I'm having a hard time keeping up with these youngins. They're making me work out, run. They're all 27 years old and I'm 51. It's not so easy anymore. I think I'm going to have to let that loose up there. I got it on 2 sides. That'll work. That will slide in there. Alright, so that's going to have to be it for today. I got this all fitted back up. It's time to go in the house, figure out some dinner. All this in here is all looking pretty nice. I can squeeze that together just a little bit, get that gap going. That is beautiful. Turned out like literally I can slide that up in there and it just slides right into place where it's going to stay. And then that will actually weld up to that. So, yep, real happy with that. So now what we have to do, now that I got that out, set up and everything's good like it needs to be in there, I've got to put my quarter panel back on and figure out how much gap, because I may have to split this and move this out depending on how that played out. And I'll have no idea until I actually get my fender or my quarter panel back up there. It may be, that may have moved that in quite a bit, which is fine. I mean, that just gives me more tire clearance, so yee-haw. But we'll have to wait and see that tomorrow. So when I come out here tomorrow, first thing I'll do is get that hooked up. Looks like that needs to go up just a tad bit. I need to push that up just a little bit more. So where that's a little more flush, that could come up. You can see I got real close to this line here, and this will actually squeeze up together like that. So, yay. All right, there it is. See you guys next time.